Hi, Jonathan York from Bay Financial Partners, looking at the investment markets. Pretty good performance out there from global equities, sort of led really by the US. The Dow and S&P sort of setting lifetime highs. And now it's just a question to see how this is sort of going to trade through, given the fact that, looking for the Fed to cut interest rates here in July. We still got the ongoing trade talks with China. Just on that, President Trump's come out this morning and now tweeted that certainly there's a long way to go on those talks. This seems to sort of change week to week. First they're pretty close, then they're a long way apart. There's a lot of work to be done. It just really is sort of an ongoing saga. Certainly if you were cynical, you would say that, it's really in President Trump's favor to keep these sort of trade talks ongoing as you sort of head into the election year of 2020. You can then sort of go to the polls, saying that he is really fighting for the US cause, trying to keep American jobs and, really trying to make America great again. Quite an interesting debate sort of taking place, re global valuations on equities at present, because certainly if you've got a falling interest rate environment, and obviously we've seen cuts in New Zealand and Australia, and most analysts are predicting a cut now in the US as well from the Fed in July, then some of these valuations don't actually look overcooked, even though we've seen quite a decent rally. Certainly with central banks looking like they're going to cut interest rates further. Certainly Australia and New Zealand looking like lower rates. In the US, you're looking at sort of one cut in July and potentially two more before year end. And really what's quite interesting from Fed Chairman Powell's testimony last week before Congress, he was pretty explicit that he didn't want to get behind the curve, get into a situation like you had sort of in Japan, where really they were really fighting to sort of try and get inflation back into the economy, having waited too long. And certainly that was quite a telling insight into the Fed's thinking. They really don't want to get behind the curve, and so they like to be more proactive rather than reactive. And potentially, that has led some analysts to be talking about a potential 50 basis point cut now in July. Indeed, some analysts and economists are sort of pointing that if you do see further rate cuts in the US, that potentially, even though we're sort of close to record highs on the indices, there could be another 5 to 7% on the upside. It'll be very interesting to see earnings going through in the next sort of couple of weeks. Certainly in the US, Goldman's have come out this morning. They were pretty good, certainly ahead of the street. And it's just going to be interesting. I think more so, not so much on the actual earnings for the second quarter, but really for guidance going forward. Because, clearly the ongoing trade dispute and sort of tariffs between the US and China and, US and many other countries has impacted on the US economy. President Trump has also stirred up a fresh sort of pot of controversy as well, tweeting against some of the Republican Congress ladies, suggesting that they should go back to the countries that they came from. This has been viewed as sort of racist by pretty much most of the US sort of population, apart from his hardcore supporters. But what was really quite interesting that 3 out of the 4 congresswomen that President Trump aimed the tweet at were actually born in the US. Oil's still stuck sort of 55, 60. Again, Iran is sort of taking center stage. It's just going to be very interesting to see how this sort of plays through. Certainly at present, the sort of sanctions don't really be having much impact. Brexit still rumbles on, and but by this time next week we should know the new leader of the Conservative Party, and then obviously the new Prime Minister of the UK. If it's Boris Johnson, who's still sort of struggling in the press with some of his comments, etc. It'll just be very interesting to see how he approaches the negotiations. There's certainly none of the issues have gone away. Just because you've got a new leader doesn't mean you're going to solve all the problems. Here in New Zealand, business confidence still pretty low, and investors are sort of trying to get to terms with this sort of low interest rate environment. Obviously, it's impacting savers quite hard in terms of term deposits. Bond rates we've already discussed. There's Trustpower bond, 7 years, minimum rate will be 3.35. But if you are looking for income options, there are plenty of alternatives available out there. And if you're interested in discussing what is available, call us on 0800 867 323 or go to the website www.bayfinancialpartners.co.nz for lots of interesting articles, and we look forward to speaking to you soon.